trust Ferguson Roof Systems to replace your roof, we go the extra mile to protect your home and property. On every job, we deploy durable netting to protect your home's exterior and landscaping. It's just one more reason why you should call Ferguson Roof Systems today.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you. It's been a minute or two. I was out of town on a work trip in Tampa, Florida, working on the radar system out there and during the week. So I'm glad there wasn't really much in the way of severe storms. Too bad for the middle of this week because I was a little out of pocket. We did get some good rain, especially across southern Oklahoma. Of course, we always need more rain out west and northwest too. So maybe the next time around we have a big system. Maybe we'll get some rain out there. We are going to have a little bit of a system coming in for this weekend though, for Saturday. So I really want to talk about that. We'd have a little risk of severe weather back across the state. It's not very high in the model data, but it's a signal that's there. So it's one of those conditional deals where if the cap breaks, then yeah, there's going to be some nasty storms. The cap holds, and it's a fairly quiet Saturday evening for the most part. So thanks for joining me. Make sure you like and share this video. Tell your friends and family about AT's weather. They can get here all the information that they need without all the hype and drama and cartoonish characters of, the big attention-getting clickbait stuff that's out there. Just don't handle that. Don't do that. It's funny, there's a lot of guys that do that. They're not meteorologists, but they are what they call grifters. So there's a lot of grifters out there making money off of you guys. So just let you know. That's how that works. All right, let's take a look here out there currently. We do have 47 degrees. So it's nice out there. We got some sunshine and some cloud cover. It's a cool day. Just a reminder that we're not quite officially into spring just yet on the calendar. We've got a few days left, but your clocks, unfortunately, are going to have to be fast forwarded an hour. Yes, I hate that. The whole daylight saving time switch. I detest it. My body clock does not like it. As the older I get, it gets worse. By the way, thanks you guys for joining me on YouTube. I see you out there chiming in. Met some of you out there at the Severe Weather Festival on Saturday. Jim included, which isn't signed in yet. Jim hardly misses a broadcast, but I got to meet Jim from Mustang out there over the weekend. And that was good. Always enjoy getting time to spend with you guys. You can also opt in to get updates if you're having trouble on your Facebook Messenger with the link I just put in the comments section. So make sure you click on that anytime. And make sure you hit the manage messages that's in your DM. That way you get re-opted in so you won't miss a broadcast, either when I go live to do discussions like this or if we end up talking about tornadoes, right? And are we going to talk about tornadoes this weekend? Let's take a look. Here's a look at the temperatures elsewhere across the state, and we are into the 40s across the north, 50s down south. So the front, as you can tell, has pushed through Oklahoma, so it has cooled us down. Last couple of days, all the cloud cover, even with the sunshine, we're still on the cool side. Like I said, still winter hanging on. If you look at the severe weather threat, though, we do have one. It's anchored here across the eastern part of the state. The back end of it may actually put more like in this zone. I'm going to show you the reason why, and then we'll include this zone afterwards for overnight activity. If we break that down from the National Weather Service, they back it up a little bit down here toward Ada. I'd probably back up just a little bit more, and I'll tell you the reason why for that. But they do have a low tornado potential, quarter-size hail up to 60 miles per hour. The area for Tulsa southward, a low tornado potential down in here. Also $half golf ball size hail, and winds up to around 60 to 70. Now some of the sounding profiles we looked at, the hail size may be underestimated here, maybe a lot bigger than golf balls in a couple of these thunderstorms, assuming that they can get going. Now, if we do look at the upper levels of the atmosphere, we look at the jet stream pattern, which shows you our instability. We do have the 500 millibar layer, these little areas of lift coming on through. It's called vorticity. It's a spin and lift in the atmosphere. So that's zipping on through the state. And it's in a zonal flow from west to east. So this isn't a big storm system. This is what we call a subtle event. So subtle means you kind of go, instead of brute forcing, you go with just typical thermodynamics in the atmosphere. If you do look at the jet stream, though, at 300 millibars, you have a nice wind field coming through the state. So everything's positioned well to get storms to grow. Even at the lower levels, at 700 millibars, you have a nice lift along another cold front. Nice lift here along the dry line intersection from Tulsa down south. So we do have some lift along these boundaries to get some thunderstorms to go. Of course, you do need moisture. So are we going to have any moisture? We're out there now. See all this brown area? This is not moisture. This is what we call the theta E axis. Theta E axis is where you're going to have the heat and the moisture overlaid and where it's going to be. Well, right now it's down into as far as southern Texas. But as we head into tomorrow morning, watch how it starts to make a run for the border. And not the Mexican border, but the Oklahoma border. And that's going to be into the afternoon hours. So we do have this theta E axis that stretches from just right around the Tulsa area, even around Bartlesville, just west side of that, on down to east of Oklahoma City, so kind of in between the two, all the way down here to southern Oklahoma around the east of the Ardmore area and then back into Dallas. So this is a theta E axis which pumps in the instability and the moisture, and you can get thunderstorms to develop along this axis. And we'll zoom into this area as well, the dew points here in a minute. But once you do that, you do look at the shear in the atmosphere, the overlaid, and the colors here represents the CAPE values. And we have the shear values, a nice triangle look here. We've got a southeast wind at the surface, a westerly wind aloft. That's a lot of turning in the atmosphere to produce rotating thunderstorms. Same thing down here in the south Oklahoma. So this whole area is favored shear and also favored instability. So if I just click one spot on the sounding in the forecast data, in the model data, you do see a possible hazard type of a tornado, and maybe even a significant tornado at that. And look at the hail, up to 4.25 inches in diameter. That's, again, grapefruit-sized hail is potential on the docket with these. Now, the winds are just a little weak at the lowest levels, but with kind of an east-southeastward movement in the thunderstorms, that might kind of help to overcome that a little bit. So there's still plenty of shear. This particular model says the cap erodes. Now, not all models do that. This one says the cap erodes. However, it doesn't actually produce any storms. It actually is pretty quiet in the data. So not all these models are actually taking a look at what's happening and actually producing storms with them. The environment says we could have them, but the models are having a tough time producing it. That's a dangerous situation. You see this a lot. But anyway, if you do look here down a little bit more to the south in that environment, a PDS tornado with a EF3 to EF4 level type environment with, again, hail sizes well over 2.5 inches in diameter, with a lot of supercells in the analogs, and again, a weak cap in place. So, bottom line is, if any storm does go in this environment here in east central Oklahoma and then kind of moving into the southeast Oklahoma or so, we may have a situation where we might get a couple of tornadoes out of that for Saturday afternoons. If you have any plans, make sure you know that and plan accordingly. Know where your safe place is to go. Here's 1 o'clock Saturday. I want to show you the dew point values. Matter of fact, let's back this up. See how today, see all that brown area? It's dew point values in the 30s. You don't get storms in the 30s. So we need those 50s and 60s to come in. Here they go, that darker green. So here's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Let's go right here to 5 o'clock. Just stop it here. So this nice moisture of dew point values in the mid-60s. Again, those are tornado dew points. You need those in the 60s, really, for Oklahoma. They kind of put the brakes on once they get into Tulsa. It doesn't mean they can't go a little bit more to the north. Again, it's just a model interpretation of how far north this instability will rise and move in. But what you can see on the surface map is some interesting characteristics. We're going to detail this for you. So first off, let's get the low going. So we'll have a surface low. And again, and each model will differ a little bit on the position. We'll just go with this one for now. It has a surface low here up around the Stillwater area. And what it trails from there is, let's see, let's back this up. And we kind of have either a surface trough in this region, maybe even a pseudo dry line, where it looks like in the split the data, we also have an actual real dry line with actual drier air here. So there's two areas of dry air that come in, this one and this one. So it's a little convoluted at the surface. Bottom line is these are areas of where you're going to get convergence in the winds, and we're going to get moisture changes in the atmosphere. Otherwise, we have this north wind that kind of comes in like so, and this is your cold front that's moving in with this little system. So again, like I said, it's not a huge one. But it's enough to create a temperature change and an environmental change. If we look here at this particular view here, maybe we have something like this for the warm front. It kind of depends on where you want to draw it, if you want to stick more along the darker dews in this region. Either way will work, but you've got some boundaries here to work with. So what you want to look for thunderstorm development is you want some good convergence. So here we kind of have a south to southeast wind in this area, and we have a southwest wind in this area. So this is our best convergence for thunderstorms to develop. It's near the triple point and then back down to the south along this boundary where the cap is not too strong. So that's the surface map for tomorrow afternoon. So this is where you have to watch for thunderstorms to develop in this area. Model data right now kind of favors a couple of regions, so kind of one up around the warm front, the triple point, and then one kind of close to this this area, and then down south. So not too far south to the Red River. Nothing showing up across the Red River right now. It's all staying in Oklahoma for you guys watching down there in North Texas. If we do look at the experimental model, which again we're kind of interested to see how well this thing does. This is new, hot off the presses, was turned on this year, and so it's going to be our first spring to see how well it does. It didn't do too well in the day, got a little overexcited, We'll see how it does today. It is the only model that's actually producing storms in the environment I showed you, which is interesting because if I were to look at that environment on a normal routine, I would have expected those other models to show thunderstorms, and they didn't, so I was surprised. So, but this one does do it. It's the only one, so that's why I'm going to show it to you. So this is kind of what it may look like. So you have some thunderstorms developing along a cold front initiation up here into northern Oklahoma through the Tulsa metro area. It does have some helicity tracks with it, so more than likely these would be some hail makers. This one here, if it can stay anchored to that warm front we talked about, would have a tornado potential. It does produce a couple of other thunderstorms south and south and southwest from there with some helicity tracks with it. So there's your potential tornado area down there. And those do move into Arkansas during the evening hours, late evening toward midnight. And then after midnight, they kind of rumble through Arkansas. So again, it's kind of a small area that we're concerned with a small window of time from roughly 5 o'clock through, was that about 10 o'clock at night? And then those things, most of them should be out of the state. If you do look at what the storm, the significant tornado parameter with this one, it kind of really goes off the rails here in that area, in that zone we talked about. So that's why, again, I'm concerned if we do see some storms fire up in this area, they could quickly become tornadic. Otherwise, there'll be some hail and damaging wind. All right, if we look at temperatures out there for today, obviously it was cool this morning with some fog and frost. This afternoon, look at this, warming up only into the, if we're lucky, let's go back here. Man, is this the right data? That looks way too warm to me, but it is what it is. Let me see here. What does it do for us? This model's already busting. 49. It's busting by a few degrees, not by much. All right, but it's going to top us out, looks like at most, into the mid-50s here across Oklahoma. So a cool day. All right, let's go into tonight. Repeat as far as coolness goes, but not as bad. So kind of holding upper 40s, low 50s. And then tomorrow afternoon, would you look at this? If you really want it warm with that dry air that comes in ahead of the cold front, it's got us at 80 degrees here in Oklahoma City. And then remember the cold front's up to the north. That'll start to cool those guys down. It gets hot down here in southwest Oklahoma, 85 degrees. So pretty toasty down there. And then once you get east into this area of southeast Oklahoma, you have a lot less instability to work with. You have 50s and 60s. So any of those storms that do develop and try to move into this area, they should weaken somewhat. They'll still probably maintain themselves, more maybe a wind and hail deal. But the tornado aspect may be a lot less because of less surface instability. So there may just be a sweet spot corridor, that kind of runs in here from right around the Tulsa area due south and west a bit. That may be the sweet spot for tomorrow if we do see any tornadic activity. Otherwise, temperatures will be cooling down Saturday evening with that front that comes in. And then by Sunday morning, we're back into the 40s, maybe some 30s sneaking in there. In the afternoon on Sunday looks pretty good. We're back into the 50s statewide. So that is a quick look at how your weekend's going to set up on the maps. And if you look at total rainfall, most of it, again, is going to be the eastern third of the state. Let's see, get my other drawing tool here. The eastern third of the state here. Even there'll be a couple of showers or thunderstorms that may develop along the front up here in northern Oklahoma and maybe way down here along those surface boundaries. But other than that, unfortunately, nothing significant out across the west. Temperatures for tomorrow, again, topping out around 80 here in Oklahoma City. Quite a bit cooler, though. For the weekend, back into the 50s. And then over next week, Wednesday and Thursday, pretty good before another little cold front comes in. So like I said, we're kind of on this up and down roller coaster ride with temperatures because winter doesn't want to give up. So that's kind of how things look right now across the state. So if you're going to be traveling or camping in eastern Oklahoma for Saturday evening, keep that in mind. You have to dodge a few of those thunderstorms if they do develop. Make sure you use my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It'll track them for you. It'll let you know if you have a severe storm approaching your area, what the danger threat is, if it's going to have a tornado with it. It'll predict that in advance and give you a number on the BTI scale from 0 to 10. If it's around a 4, 5, and 6, make sure you watch it really carefully, and you might want to start heading toward a safe place. If it's a 7, 8, 9, or 10, that usually means it's a guaranteed tornado coming at you, so you might want to just go ahead and hit the Frady hole. If you do find yourself in that position, it's always get into a sturdy structure, building, lowest floor, away from all outside walls and windows. You can, in worst case scenario, get into a ditch, believe it or not, a low-lying ditch. You don't want to get into over an underpass. Don't get underneath those. That actually makes things worse. So stay away from those when it comes to tornadoes. If you want to dodge the hail from those, that's a whole nother discussion, because if you get on the highways and you're blocking everybody else to make an escape, and it turns out there is a tornado coming, then that's a whole nother can of worms you opened up. So human nature is funny. When it comes to survival, it is like every man and woman and child for themselves. But that mentality will hose everybody else. So best bet is to always have a plan of action and not put yourself in harm's way. So plan accordingly. Let's see. I think that was about it for me. I will be around over the weekend, so if it looks like thunderstorms may develop that produce tornadoes, I would probably try to be live for you for that. Otherwise, you can always use my weather app to stay out of harm's way. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Today's Friday. Hope you have a great day. And again, thanks for everybody that came out to the mall and joined me out there. It was good to see you. And we'll do it again next year. So each year, the Severe Weather Expo at Penn Square Mall is back on. And also, if you guys up around the Tulsa area, we do Woodland Hills Mall. And that is coming up in April, I believe. I need to go look at my date on the calendar. I'll be coming up here soon, so I'll be there as well. So if you guys want to come out to that expo in early April, then come and see me there. And again, we'll do that also each year. So I'm looking forward to picking that back up again. All right, that is it for me. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out of here. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.